Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 157. Hope you're all doing well tonight. I'm joined this evening, as ever, by my co-host, Morgan Harvell. Good evening, Morgan. How are you?
Hey, Matty. I'm good, brother. How are you? And welcome to the chat.
I'm very good, thank you. How's your week been? I've seen on your socials you've been jumping in the lake a lot. Is that?
Hey, different day, same lake. Different day, same lake. Yeah, it's been good, man. Really, really good week. I think we did every day in the lake this week.
Fantastic.
Got 3 rounds of disc golf in,
Wow.
a couple of ends of lawn bowls, and a little bit of work sprinkled in the mix.
Oh, fantastic! Sounds very good. What did you get to play?
Played a couple rounds at Jardine and one at Tucker's. Didn't quite manage to get to the Queenstown Gardens, but good to be back out on Tucker's, man. It's been a long time, and God, I love it out there. It's just such an incredible course.
Yeah, fantastic.
And how was your week?
Yeah, it's been good. Been not getting much sleep and doing.
Yeah, little man keeping you on your toes.
Yeah, a little bit, but I did manage to get out for Hoska, the monthly club round at Hikoikoi on Saturday just gone. So there was 2 rounds. The first round of 9 is a themed round where they do something different. They mix it up a little bit. This week it was a 2-disc round, so you had to pick any 2 discs and just play all of your shots with that. And I picked a musket and a trust. Were my 2, and yeah, managed to. I think did I? I don't know if I tied for the lead or tied for second. Oh no, I came second overall. I think I came second overall.
There you go.
Which was enough to get me onto lead card. And for the championship round. I tied third in the theme round, which was enough to get me on the lead card for the championship round. Where I tied second, and it was a bag tag scramble. So I went in with number 21, came away with number 6. So that's progress.
Number 6.
That's progress in the right direction. So yeah, very happy with that. Very happy. So yeah, got to get out and play some disc golf. So and I'm
nice one. So 2 discs. A musket is like a 10 speed.
That's right.
Not flippy, but slightly turny driver.
Yeah, it's got a bit.
Trust.
It's got a bit of turn. Not for me, but for most people, it's got a bit of turn. Yeah.
Yeah, and a trust is just like laser beam, right?
It's a little bit of it's a slightly overstable buzz. So if you can imagine you've got a buzz in like, if you can imagine you've got a buzz in like, I don't know, titanium or something, then that would be the equivalent.
Nice. It's a couple of good disc choices right there.
Yeah, I mean, I was discussing this with some people. A lot of people bought a putter, and I was like, I don't really need a putter because I don't throw a putter particularly. So and it. For me, it didn't really matter what disc I throw within 5 meters, right, to putt with. It's going to go where I put it, irrelevant of what it is. And so I picked discs that I felt would work best off the tee. And at Hikoikoi, there's a few short holes and there's a few long holes. Brett, yeah, they both do air bounce quite well. You weren't there, so you wouldn't know. So...
Hey, we all know about a good air bounce around here at Sweet Chain Live.
Look, the air bounce, I will say, right, you go and watch. There's plenty of people out there who air bounce a hell of a lot and don't get the stick that I get for my air bounce, all right? There's a lot of people who go out there and air bounce. I'll give you 2 people, 1 New Zealander and 1 US pro. The US pro's Matt Oram. If you've watched Matt Oram throw, he's got an air bounce, right? You watch it from the side. Second person with an air bounce in this country who throws a hell of a far, Connor McKinstry. You watch it. Next time you get a chance to watch Connor throw side on, he's got an air bounce. It goes far, right? He's got distance. He does what I can't do. But
I am only air bounce. That's how I play. We make it work for us, all right?
That's
we may
it.
not be number 1. But we're somewhere down the list.
Well, talking of numbers on the list, today is a fantastic episode because we're going to be putting a stat amongst the pigeons and going through all of 2023's UDisc statistics in terms of where people have played, how many people have played, all that kind of stuff. And we're going to go into it a little bit more detail, have a chat about it as we go. You saw the stats very briefly beforehand, so
I did.
You may not.
And when we were in the countdown to the show, I even put it in the chat here. I went, "We need Statman Adam Rhymes." I feel like I'm in the wrong role right now. I should be kicked off stream, and I need my sidekick, my number one, Adam Rhymes, sitting in the seat for me because he is the Statman. And I'm sorry to break you up, but I have to put this out there.
Go on.
Nothing. I read the wrong thing. I thought we'd hit 350 subscribers, but we're at 344. Come on, guys. If you're in the chat, like, follow, subscribe.
I was going to say,
350.
We do only need 6. 6 more subscribers gets us to the goal of doing another giveaway. So if you're sat there, and 1 in 4 people is sat there, unsubscribed watching this. So if you feel like it, hit the subscribe button, get us towards our goal, and then we'll do a giveaway probably next week, or hopefully.
I jumped the gun a wee bit there.
We'll sort something out. Right, let's get on with it for the first set of stats, which are the regular ones that you hear each week, is hot scores. Now, what also is going to be changing is these are the last time that these particular courses will be used for hot scores. After this week, we will be using the top 20 courses, which we'll be revealing to you later on in the show. So, Morgan, take us through the South.
All right, Matt. Well, you've gone ahead and thrown Henderson into my.
I've done it again.
I'm going to leave that. As long as you've got it on.
I've got it on mine. Yeah, I've got it on mine. Leave it to me.
Perfect. All right, then as always, not starting at Henderson, starting off in the deep south at Queen's Park, we have got Mr. Tiaki at a 45, 12 under par, shooting us off with a hot score for the week. Then we're headed over to Chingford, and we've got the one and only Lance Essen at 5 under par. Sticking it on down in Dunedin, we've got Brockville, and we've got Jens Moeller, Sergey Sanin, and Isaac Latter, all on 5 under par. Good shooting there this week, boys. Headed on into my neck of the woods, and we've got Stiffmeister on a -10 at the Queenstown Gardens. And then we're going over to my guy, Gus Van Gisteren, at the Tucker Beach Disc Golf Course with a -8 this week, taking down the hot score. Good shooting there, brother. Headed on over to Ely Point in Wanaka. We've got Ben Quinn with a 6 under par. Tagged alongside him, John Menzies, also with a 6 under par. 10 under par gets the job done this week at Lismore for none other. Who else but the one and only Mundo McDisc. Again, 10 under par at Lismore. Hot shooting there. We're going to shoot all the way out to Jelly Park, and his name is going to throw me through the absolute works here, but we've got Khalib, Allen, Kokiri, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Kokiri Leach with a 15 under par. For someone that I've not had the pleasure of meeting or hearing of, 15 under par is an absolutely insane score, so great shooting there, Khalib. Ascot Park, also up in Christchurch, we've got Sam Cole at 6 under par. Queen's Park Reserve, and none other than Zach Taylor of NZDSS with a 7 under par. And Old Red is rounding us out this week with a 2 under par at Taylor River. And we're going to shoot up north all the way to Henderson. And we're going to let Matt take this one over.
Well, we're going to start in Wellington, so we're going to kick off in Berrenport in the hills. And it's Liam Haberfield again, hits 7 under par, second week in a row. He's been the hot score in the capital. Over here, Koi across the water, and it's Brady Cush who hits 5 under par. That was at the Fiend round, actually, at Hosker at the weekend. Harcourt Park, Andy Davey hits 5 under par. That was last night at League. Linklater, Johnny Wake hits 10 under par. And up at Maryland's, Conor McKinstry, Jason Gray, Tom Roberts and Jim all can't decide who's best, all shooting 2 under par. Up at Spa Park Black, Jacob Bingham goes round in +3, and an incredible score coming out of McLaren's Longs with Jimmy Tutufu hitting 18 under par.
You what, mate?
That's what we've got. That's what we've got. So maybe
I said this about Jimmy. Sorry to interrupt, but I said this about Jimmy when he was down at Paradise. He is someone that can come out of the shadows and just smoke everyone. That guy's an incredible player. So 18 under par. Shocked at the score, but not shocked that it's him.
Especially at a course like McLaren's, right? So, yeah, incredible. And finally, Henderson is Luke Hempel with 7 under par. So well done to Luke.
There we go.
Right, now we're going to be jumping head first, or rather attempting to scale the heights of Statmandu with our stats episode. Now, here we go. We're going to jump in, but we've got a few caveats to run through before we do. Okay? Now, it's worth saying that these results that we're looking at here, they're all based on 2023 data, right? So it's data that doesn't include up until this part of the year. And also, it's rounds that are scored on UDisc. Now, so what does that mean? Well, it means that if you don't have a UDisc subscription because you are unaware it exists, or you didn't bring your phone, or you haven't renewed your membership, or you just didn't fancy using it that day, your round doesn't get put into these numbers. Okay? So it's worth just caveating this by saying this isn't the total number of disc golf rounds played in New Zealand. What this says is this is the best guess we've got at a minimum of the number of rounds of disc golf played in New Zealand, right? Because there'll be plenty of people, and hopefully each course has got one of those UDisc plaques. Did you know? Have you got one? Have you seen those? Is there one in the Queenstown Gardens?
I think I've got one just over there somewhere if you need me to grab it.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, the idea is you put it up at the course because more people will see it than people who come to your garage. So, and then you could you scan
pretty famous garage, this one.
you scan the QR code on the sign, and then if you're new to UDisc, it takes you to download the app and all the rest of it. So, so a quick question for chat: have you renewed your UDisc membership? Put a yes or a no in the chat. I'd be really keen to see the kind of numbers that we're looking at here. I'm a yes, so I shall go first. I shall confirm. I have renewed my my UDisc membership. Have you renewed yours? If you haven't, let us know, and if you have, then let us know. I'd be really keen to kind of see the idea, because the price has gone up this year in February, right? So the price is like 50 something bucks, I think, now for the year, which is quite an increase. I think it was did it go up from 25 or 19.99, something like that?
It was more than a 50% increase, but look, it was so low in the first place. In my opinion.
I mean, what was it? 2018? It was like $5 or something.
Yeah, and most people were getting free memberships with their PDJ memberships,
totally.
and things like that. So I mean, it can seem like a drastic change, but $50, like, realistically, not crazy.
No.
I think it's fair, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's $1 a week, right? It's I accept the difference. Actually, I think that it'll make is that $50 in one go is a little bit more off-putting than, $10 or $15 in one go, right? Even though the price difference is pretty minuscule on a weekly basis. And Tom makes the point about maybe having a monthly payment option as well. I'd imagine that the reason it's not a monthly one is probably just a pain in the ass to administer. Honestly, if it was monthly,
it's definitely just too much admin on their side. To be fair,
and so they probably just go, okay, well, we'll absorb the hit in no, Willow the Wolf, not yet, but will do. 25 on the 25th of June. Is that right? Oh, is that when might be the time when it comes to renew? So yeah, it's going to be caveat asterisk next to all of these stats that this is UDisc scored rounds only, and unfortunately that's the best we've got to go by. So I just want to be very clear at the beginning.
It's all we've got to go by.
Oh yeah,
it's not even the best. Yeah. That's what we have to go by. Yeah. So this is what we do.
Yeah. There are other scoring apps out there. I think the PDGA has one, but I don't know if it's possible to grab the data in the same way. I mean, UDisc are great. I emailed them and said, look, I do this show. I want to do this episode. Can you send me some details? And they sent me a whole bunch of stuff. So anyway, let's get into it and let's go. There's going to be lots of Q&A during this Morgan and chat. So if you want to have a guess as to where we're going with it all, then yeah. So the scope is that what I've done for the first few slides here is I've focused on the top 50 disc golf courses by number of rounds scored on UDisc in 2023, and then the yearly stats run from 2017 to 2023. Now, I got my UDisc, I started with UDisc in October of 2018, so I don't know if I was new or relatively old or whatever getting into it, but that's, that UDisc has been around since 2017, I think. So, and that's when that's when we've got stats from. Obviously, in 2017, far fewer people using it than now. So, first up, here we go. Here are the courses which have fallen out of favour. What we mean by this is that these 5 courses used to be in the top 50 last year, but now aren't. Okay, so you can see Waitawa just falls outside of the top 50. Paiotarangi has taken a big hit. I'm not sure on the on that might be due to closures or limited access. Let's see if I can.
Have you played Paiotarangi?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Paiotarangi? Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's an incredible course. It's a lot, but it's also one of the favourite courses that I've played in all of New Zealand.
Yeah,
great course. If you get the opportunity, get your way up there.
At Beffels, eh? So it probably is a case that it was unusable for some of the year, and that's why it's fallen out of the top 50. I suspect is for that. Places like Bayfair Reserve and Gore just look like they're kind of organic numbers where it's just maybe fallen out of favour with maybe some competition in the case of Gore, and perhaps with so you got McLaren's in
Bayfair
total as well.
Yeah, well, Gore's kind of out of the way. Like, it's if you're coming from Invercargill, say, through to Queenstown, you'll go through Lumsden. If you're going through Gore, it's the long way. It's not really a middle point between any two major places.
I see. Okay.
And Gore Disc Golf Course is only a few years old, so obviously it would have had that peak when it went in, got a bit of interest, and then people sort of just drops down on where they're trying to get to go and play other courses that are popping up around the area.
It came in at 49 in 2022. So
yeah,
it was only just in the top 50 as it was in 2022, but has dropped.
I do want to point out though, guys, that there is another course coming to Gore very soon. It's been approved by council, as far as I'm aware, and just working on funding right now. But that has been designed, approved, and is en route to the area. So
fantastic!
Gore,
so Gore
coming up.
Gore could see an uptick next year, which we'll have to wait and see. Next up, then, these are the 41 to 50 of the most popular courses in New Zealand. Any here that jump out to you as perhaps being higher or lower than you expected?
Oh, maybe. Well, Inglewood potentially. I mean, it's gone up 7. It's
and doubled
course.
And doubled, right? So look at the growth.
Yeah, doubled.
It's doubled in the number of people who are playing it. So it's seen more people going round, but still relatively low. Maryland's is further up this list, and we'll get to that shortly.
Not shocking to me, but Jardine in at 42. I just know there's a lot of people that play there that don't score on UDisc, so that's that caveat you were talking about.
Yeah, that's going to happen. I suspect the Confluence might be like that, but also the Confluence is quite rugged and at times might be unplayable due to weather and
well, the Confluence is an interesting one too because it's a fantastic course. I absolutely love it out there. The Wanaka crew have done such a good job with that course. They've been clearing scrub, trees, replanting the whole area. It's an amazing course, in my opinion. But they also have Lismore, Ely Point, Hawea, all courses that you can drive to, whereas not that it's a big walk, you have to drive to the car park and then walk another 10 minutes even just to get to hole one of the Confluence.
Yeah, and Lismore and Ely, they've got car parks, they're near they're in suburbs. It's a lot easier for people to get to, etc.
Fantastic course though.
Played Ahakuni earlier on this year, Morgan, on the way up to Taupo. That's a fun little course. If you get a chance to to go to Ohakuni, then definitely go get played around there. They've got on their UDisc actually. They've got a short course, and it is a short course. The longest hole is like 60 meters.
Nice.
When we played, Brett Carlisle birdied every hole, and so it was great fun. It's got a little river running down running round that affects all the holes actually. That are kind of runs snakes down the side of the course, and you'll see discs go in. Like we threw like 3 into the river, not deliberately, but like we got 3, at least 3. And what was funny was that we were worried that we would lose them because it's quite a fast flowing river. And then we met a local guy who came round and who plays it every day and was like, "Oh, I know where they'll be," and sure enough, they were all lodged on this one rock that all the discs get caught by as the river goes past. And that's it. And he was like, "Oh no, they'll be there." And they were sure they were. We went and picked them out. So yeah, if you can get to Ohakuni, then definitely play. They've seen some growth this year as well. Up 130.
Nothing like a bit of local knowledge.
That's it. That's what it's about. So we're going to some bigger courses now at 31 to 40. Right, so Nottingley Park in Waimate has seen a huge growth. Now, this is largely due to that it went in late in 2022, so didn't have time to kind of to kind of have its play there. Same with Palmerston North Golf Club. That's a relatively new course. I forget exactly when the open day was. That was the open day for that in 2022. That seems like a long time ago. But anyway, that seems some incredible growth as well, up 24 places. Up to 40th, and Nottingley Park is up from 70th place in 2022 up to 31. What else?
Number 35.
Number 35, Isle Park Pitch and Putt. That's right. Look, this isn't the first time we're going to mention Nelson today. This isn't. No.
Seems to be having a bit of a boom, doesn't it? This isn't
the first time we're going to be mentioning Nelson. So yeah, we shall see. Henley Lake, great to see some growth there as well. I love that course. Playing it in just over a week's time, actually, for the Disctopia by Disconnection. Have I got that right? Yeah, Dystopia by Disconnection. That Mark Clement puts on it at Henley Lake. 27 holes played 3 times in 2 days. Not for the faint of heart, certainly. And obviously the Invercargill Disc Golf South Queen's Park Golf Club Champ course is listed on there as a separate course. Obviously, it overlaps the main Queen's Park course, which does appear on this list a little bit further up than here. Moving on, 21 to 30. So interestingly, from our perspective, these courses will not be featured on our hot scores, right? So there's a few on here that we currently mention. We in fact, Ely Point, Ascot, McLaren's, Taylor River, Tucker Beach, Brooker Ave used to be. They've all been on hot scores, but they won't be from this week on. We are focusing simply on the top 20 courses. So yeah.
And that's just a reminder, guys. If you want your scores on hot scores,
get to your local course.
Make sure you sign up for that $50 UDisc subscription.
That's it.
And get down there, play, and score.
So Bottle Lake is obviously the big gainer here. Has got a very active audience in Christchurch to draw from, and has done so with aplomb, up 52 spots to 26. It's got a lot of competition. Bottle Lake in Christchurch. There's lots of courses in Christchurch. Ascot has seen a drop in the number of players. Brooker Ave.
Yeah, well, that's in the same neighbourhood.
Yeah. Okay. And Brooker Ave's not too far away either, eh?
No, I mean all 3 of those are in that same district of Christchurch, but Ascot especially is basically right next to Bottle Lake, 2 streets away.
And Queen's Park Reserve, which is also featured further up, is also in a similar kind of spot, and so probably Bottle Lake has drawn some of the numbers away from those other courses in Christchurch and those kind of.
I think the difference between Queen's Park and these other two courses, it's a lot shorter. It's something you can just go and bang
Yeah,
around
totally
out for
right.
30
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Scott reminds us that those numbers are without baskets, correct? So the tone poles were replaced by baskets shortly before Tour Down Under. I don't know. Is that a permanent installation? The baskets from Tour Down Under?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep. Yes, it is.
So yeah.
I'm not sure if it's those baskets, but it is definitely going to be a permanent
Yeah.
installation. 100%.
Fantastic. So, what other ones can we pick out here? Rotorua kind of holding steady. Ely Point up 2, but narrowly missing out. And Brooker was closed for a while. You're right. It was closed for a while they were doing some upgrades to it. So yeah, that's probably affecting these numbers, and you can see how it's changing things. So let's get into our top 20, Morgan.
Go up.
Okay, so here we go. Top 20. Now there's 2 in here. There's 2 ones that I want to pick out. Number 11. Look at number 11, Branford Park.
639%.
It's gone up by a factor of 6, up 27 spaces from 38th to 11th. It's overtaken Brockville, Woodhill, Lismore, Harcourt Park. It's played more than all of those courses, despite gains in all of them as well. For me, it's nice to see that Harcourt Park's gone up. And Harcourt Park is also really one of those courses that, you know, there's a lot of people who play that course that don't score a new disc. It's a real kind of local course for a lot of people, and a lot of people will just go and walk the dog and chuck a disc at the same time. So, and that happens with a lot of courses, but I'd say Harcourt Park was perhaps in the kind of upper quartiles, perhaps, of that effect.
Have you played much at Woodhill?
I've never played Woodhill.
Yeah, I kind of wish you had, just so you'd sort of understand what I'm going to get at here. Woodhill's such an interesting place. It's not everyone's go-to in the Auckland area.
It's quite out of town, though, isn't it? Is it quite out of town? Northwest?
I mean, everything's...
Oh, yeah, I suppose everything's out of town.
It's Auckland. It's Auckland. Yeah, you could be going to the centre of town and it's still bloody hours away, isn't it? Mm-hmm. No, but Woodhill, man, I personally absolutely love that place. And they've had multiple layouts for years now that every time I seem to pop up there, it changes. Yep. There's different holes popping up everywhere. And, man, those guys have done a fantastic job with the land that they've got there. And I'm already excited to get back up there. So shout out to Woodhill.
Yeah, I'd like to get up there because they do have several different layouts. I think there's 7 layouts. I think is what I've read. Something silly like that. So yeah, if there's something for everyone. So yeah. What else have we got in here? Linklater getting some work. I think those 700 rounds are probably all Johnny Wake. What do you reckon?
Yeah, surely. I mean, he couldn't get that good if he wasn't.
I think that's probably what's going on there. He started in 2023, so yeah, wouldn't have had any private.
Yeah, and I think that, and I mean this, the small decline of Chingford is only due to other courses being.
Yeah, I mean that's right, and Brockville's seen a game that is kind of that's more than overcome that dip from Chingford. But what's great to see from Nelson is that they've got 2 here in the top 20 in the 11 to 20 mark.
Keep doing it, Nelson.
And finally, 4 to 10. Here we go. So what I'm really pleased to see is 2 Wellington courses in the top 10. Hikoikoi Reserve. I mean, look, I don't know if you played Hikoikoi.
I wish I could say yes.
It's such an unassuming little 9-hole course on like a little on the edge of the river / coast in Petone. That is quite challenging, but there are some it's gettable, and it gets people going round. It's great. It's fantastic.
Man, I love it. I love a 9-hole course. I mean, what do you reckon, chat? What do you guys think about 9-hole courses? Because I think they definitely have a place in our disc golf community. I mean, just being able to pop out with my dogs for 45 minutes to an hour and just punch around out, get a walk in for them rather than dragging them around an 18-hole course.
Queen's Park Reserve. Is that a 9 or an 18? That's 18. Okay, so I was going to say...
No, sorry.
That's 9.
Nine.
Okay,
That's 9.
I was going to say, that's 9. Berempore is 10. Hikoikoi is 9. So some good performances there from smaller courses, right?
Yep.
And so we'll see. 10-hole courses are better. Yeah, Josh is from Wellington as well.
Josh Group preferred 10.
Yeah, they're all Berempore with its Berempore shrunk slightly, but not materially. Queenstown Gardens for you, seen some growth.
Yeah, I don't really know what to put that down to. I mean, I know I play a lot around. Well, obviously not in the last few months, but I play a lot of rounds with local guys that never score.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested to know where those numbers actually come from.
And also there'll be a lot of people who play Queenstown Gardens who are, I've never played disc golf before, but here's a thing: I'll borrow some discs from the shop, does that little coffee shop rent discs or let you borrow them or something? The one that's on the corner. Just before the start?
No, not that one. No, not that one. I don't know if they ever did. My friend owns that one now. Shout out you, Steve-O. But, Small Planet rents this for $5. A bunch of the hostels do the same sort of thing.
So I suspect that they get a hell of a traffic like that doesn't get scored on UDisc, because if you don't play disc golf, then why have you got UDisc? And tourism is back. Yeah. There's way more people playing now. So that's where Queenstown Gardens kind of suffers in these numbers, but not in reality.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we seen the stats of actual people going around the course, it would be through the roof.
Spa Park has seen a bit of a decline. 5,000 people, 7%. Not huge amount, but it's down from 3rd to 5th.
So we just put that down to UDisc prices?
I don't know. Honestly. It'd be interesting to hear from some of the Spa Park guys. Obviously, the Spa Park got rated the 61st best course in the world, based on the UDisc ratings. Although total player rounds have gone down. I don't know what that's down to. It could be. Was the cyclone? Did the cyclone come through? Might that have stopped play for a number of times? I know that it wrecked a huge bunch of holes. I don't know if Steve or Ken are in the comments.
Yeah, anyone in the chat that can give us a bit more of an idea. I'm a bit too stout to have any idea.
The cyclone that came in and wrecked, I think, hole 2, 3, and 4 did a bit of a job there. And also some on the other side, 17, 18, I think. That's they could have been affected by that, and so the course might have been closed, or there might have been some holes that have been closed, which put people off from playing. I don't know.
Anthony's saying pretty sure it did close the course for a bit.
So it could well have been that. And obviously 500 people, when 6,000 people are going round, 500 people is if the course is closed for 3 weeks, on average, that's going to account for those 500 players, right? So we've got to. Is that right? Well, maybe closer to 6 weeks. Five weeks. Yeah,
quick math. Quick math.
Back in envelope maths there. So there's the top 4 to 10.
And then top
3. Chat, who's in 3rd? Who is your guess for 3rd place? Who are we missing off the list? Who is in 3rd?
Yeah, let's just give this a second.
I'd be
come on,
keen
chat.
to
Let's
see who is in 3rd place. People probably
absolutely didn't get.
People have probably got a good idea of who is 1st, and probably who is 2nd. But who's 3rd? Probably more conspicuous by their absence so far is probably what it is.
Arne Burgess, how good is the sound this week? Yeah, we don't have any of these pesty guests on this week to ruin.
Brett Carlisle saying Berempore Longs, unfortunately, no. Berempore Longs does not make it. Queen's Park, Warren Park. Yeah, okay. We're having some guesses coming in.
Let's send it up the list. What do we got?
3rd place is Warren Park, right? So, so this is obviously a great result for them. I've played Warren Park, actually. I think I've played Warren Park. Anyway, I'm sure I have. I went out for I remember it was at the end of GCO last year. and I think I played like a speed round with Ben Wheellake and Phil Botter just before we had to go and catch a flight. I'm just checking my UDisc profile to see if it's...
That's a bold move, playing a speed round with those two young bucks.
It was, well, correct. So, hang on a second. I think I have. That was right. I've played one round at Warren Park. So, yeah.
There you go.
So I'm
good job, Tommy Strawbridge. You nailed it.
So I'm glad that I'm glad that I've contributed to these numbers. But the they've seen a growth, 30% more players, and a increase from 8th in 2022 up to 3rd. So well done to everybody who goes around to Warren Park. We've had lots of guesses so far. It's Warren is a nightmare when windy during football games. Yeah, it was. It was quite calm the time we went. Really hot but calm. Second place, who do we think's in second place? This is perhaps a little bit easier to understand, especially if you've watched previous episodes of this kind of thing.
I mean, I obviously know.
Yeah, it's Queen's Park Disc Golf Course in Invercargill is in second place and has seen a small increase in the number of people playing it. So yeah, they stay in second place.
But then also remembering that they do have the pro course, golf course, which is part of that course as well, I suppose.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so you've got to add the two together. Yeah. So that's in second place. We've both played Queen's Park a couple of times. Lovely course, lovely park. It's one of those courses actually that is probably it's a little bit like Jelly, but also I think like Hardcore Park. In that it's a nice place to be if you're not playing disc golf.
I think Queen's Park in general, if you've had the chance to explore it, is incredible. I think it's one of the better gardens in the whole of the country. I mean, it's got everything down to like the botanical gardens and the bird aviary, which is insane down there. Yeah, don't know if you had the chance to get in there, but they've got emus.
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't get close to an emu.
They win. They've got emus.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, there we are. So next time I shall have to go and check that out. But yes, absolutely. If you've not played Queen's Park in Invercargill, then make sure you make the trip all the way down south to check it out. It's a great course. Obviously, Levi Stout cuts his teeth around that on a regular basis. And finally, the most popular course in New Zealand. Most people have probably guessed it already.
Struggle Street.
Struggle Street didn't make... Has Struggle Street closed?
No, it's not closed, man. We've just... there's a couple more private courses that have been popping up that the boys have been playing on.
Oh, okay. The most popular course is Jelly Park in Christchurch. It has seen fewer people by about 65. 64. Fewer players played it this year compared to last year, but broadly that's more or less the same.
Yeah.
And if we look at this, just to put this kind of into context, that means that 41 rounds are played at Jelly Park every single day. Every day,
and it's a hell of a lot more than that too.
It is. I mean, I've heard stories of in summertime, 600 people going out and playing on a day.
Yeah, I would say that many rounds by 10:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, well done to Christchurch, well done to Jelly Park. You take the honours once again this year, and also it's worth saying that if we have a look at the numbers here, Jelly Park at 15,000, Queen's Park at 10,000. Warren Park at 6,000, right? And then everyone else, below 6,300. So what that means is that Jelly Park is doing 2.5 times the third most popular course.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Right? Just so let that sink in. And we'll see when we break this data down by city in a minute. And obviously, with the winner is Christchurch, right? Because they've got 3 of the top 4. But we see how that kind of translates how popular Jelly Park is. So just when we get to those numbers, which is in a minute, just remember that figure of 15,000 for 2023.
Tommy Strawbridge saying he's seen up to 60 people queuing at hole one there before.
Oh yeah, look, that's just mental. That I if I saw that many people, I just go to a different course, right? You've got so many options in Christchurch now that even if it meant driving across town to Ascot or whatever.
If you were to show up at the course with a six-pack, it'd be gone before you started the round.
I think you're probably right. So this is the by city. Okay, so I've been a bit broad in some of the where this is. So this is the top 20 cities and the number of courses that they have and what's in their growth, right? So yeah, I think we've seen growth pretty much across the board. Some have seen huge growth: Waimate, Twizel, Masterton. Seen some huge jumps, and they've broken into the top 20 because of that. Some have grown slower. New Plymouth, we saw Inglewood was I think 41 on the list, and Maryland's was I think mid-20s. So yeah, and Palmerston North now has 2 courses, the golf club and Linklater. So yeah. And the top cities, top 10. Here we go. Look at Nelson. I don't know if Morgan's still with it. Is Morgan still with it? Just frozen.
I was just about to say, have I still got you, Matt?
Yeah.
Still got you. Check.
You are still here. Nelson, right? Look at that. It's gone. It's over tripled in the number of people who are playing, and more scored on disc golf is played in Nelson than is played in Queenstown, and that includes Jardine, Tuckers, and Queenstown Gardens.
Yep. So it sounds like we've just got a lot more committed disc golfers in Nelson than we do in Queenstown right now. Committed to the cause.
It's interesting, right?
Show.
It's interesting because we'll get to something a little bit in a minute, which might explain some of this, sort of. And it was a point that actually I was sharing some of these stats with the Old Farts group earlier on today. And the comment came up that actually it matters more the unique players. Right? How many unique players are playing? So not how many people not how many rounds have been played, but how many people are playing rounds. Right? And that, so we'll have to see. Let's go Wellington. Indeed. I think that's fantastic. Just from a personal perspective, obviously 2 in the top 10, 3 in the top 15 will push you into second.
I'm going to bring it up again, Matt. Like 2 weeks ago, I would have been a bit more shocked at that statistic, but after when you had the pop-up for fundraising on the show a couple of weeks ago, I'm not as shocked at that after hearing the figures that you had there. So yeah, big ups Wellington, guys. Keep it up. I mean, that central part of the country, Wellington, Nelson, really pushing the.
It is. I mean,
pushing the boat out.
That part of the country has really done well.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Auckland suffers because of a decline in a couple of courses. A few courses have fallen out of the top 50, which affects these numbers, and also we've seen reductions in other courses as well around Auckland. So that's an interesting one. So it'd be interesting to try and find out what is up with that. Do people just not use UDisc in Auckland? Is it just not a thing? Is there an alternative, or is it just not? I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I think because Auckland is quite a sprawled city, right? It's a very wide city. It covers a lot of area. That it perhaps, and I might be unfair in saying this, and if you're from Auckland and you think differently, then please tell me. It perhaps doesn't have as much of a club atmosphere, if you know what I mean, than something like Nelson or Wellington might have, or indeed Christchurch, or perhaps any of these other things, right? Does it get that same kind of, like in Wellington, every month there's a club. There's every month there's 2 club days, and on top of that, every week there's a club like Sunday social league, right? So that encourages you that if you're a member of the Greater Wellington Disc Golf Club, you come together and you play in those rounds. I don't know. Auckland probably does something similar, but because it's so sprawled out, is the kind of concentration of players? Does it suffer from that kind of
as opposed to the concentration?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
It's kind of hard to put our finger on the pulse on that one without actually being there, isn't it? I mean, you can obviously speak really well to the growth of the game in Wellington, and I can speak well to the not growth of Queenstown and the amount of tourists we have that don't have units. But yeah, we don't know about Auckland. We're not there. So if anyone's in the chat with some ideas, let us know.
Scott's saying you can't sneak out of work for a quick round in Auckland. That's absolutely true. Whereas you can do that in other places.
Gus saying that any course is like minimum 40 minutes away from where he was living.
Yeah, and that's that kind of sprawled kind of thing, right? So it must be something to do with that. But anyway, but having said that. That was the case in 2022, right? Auckland hasn't suddenly become a sprawled city in the last year. So those effects would have been happening in 2022. So what I really want to know is why now? Why this year have those numbers reduced by so much? We'll have to do some digging into that. We'll have to see. Right, Invercargill has more or less stayed still. The top course, the two courses, it is actually just one course with kind of two layouts as two courses.
Yeah.
Nelson in 5th. Shout out to the Nelson guys. That's a huge increase, and so very well done. Getting yourself up to 5th. Queenstown, Dunedin, and Wanaka are all sort of where they previously were. Topor taking a hit, as we spoke about before. Not quite sure what's going on there. Ryan's saying that Hendo's stream caused issues for ages due to flooding. Yeah, so it could well be that there's this kind of weather events which are happening, which solely affect one area of the country. But yeah, so yeah, that's the by city stats. So shout out to big ups to Wellington there for the bump. And then finally by island. So overall, so this is just the top 50 courses, remember, okay? The South Island has grown by 27%. The North Island stayed kind of the same. Now that's largely because Auckland has seen a dip, and Taupo's seen a dip. The rest of the North Island has moved up and accounts for that difference. Remember, these are the top 50 courses, so they don't account for courses 51 through to 80 something. So we have seen growth, and we'll see the total numbers across the whole of New Zealand at the end, where we can see how things are going. So this next one's interesting. This is unique players, right? So these are the top 20 courses by number of unique players. So this is slightly different, and you'll notice that there are some courses on here that do very well compared to others. You'll see that Queen's Park is in 12th place, where actually it came in second in the overall number of rounds. And that RPPPY figure is the rounds per person per year figure, right? So you take the total number of rounds divided by 511, and that's the number of rounds per person per year. And so, yeah, Queen's Park's got a loyal 500 following that all play 20 rounds a year. I mean, obviously it doesn't work out like that. The median is probably a little bit lower, I suspect, with all of these actually. So yeah, Bottle Lake, there were 9 people who played it in 2022. That jumped to 450.
I would say that is the I'd say that's the course designers
and his
themselves.
family. Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
that's just the If your surname isn't Watkinson, then you probably weren't in that 9. So yeah, that's that's obviously the impact of a new course there. You can see.
Yeah.
Moving on to the top 10, and so here we go. So this is showing the impact of perhaps touristy towns. Queenstown Gardens in second place with 1,000 unique players. People going there on holiday, getting around in. This is even not necessarily overseas tourists, but New Zealand tourists as well, right? Is good to see. No courses in Wellington in the top 10. Right, which perhaps tells another story again, that there's a fewer number of players that play a lot of rounds in Wellington. That would suggest Jelly Park seems to be doing well on all fronts. What's interesting here is that the change from 2023 to 2022 has massively increased, right, for pretty much the whole country. Right, these top 8 have all got near on, if not 50%. Or at least 30, but sometimes often 50% higher number of players, which shows that there's more players getting to these courses. That'll be a combination of new players and also more people travelling.
More people travelling within New Zealand. Obviously, a few more tourists coming back to New Zealand, and just again, more Kiwi players travelling around to go get involved in these courses.
Yeah, and that's great, right? Because it means it's putting more players in at the bottom of the funnel, if you like. If our funnel is getting top players out of the bottom of the funnel, then putting more in at the top gives you a far greater chance. Now it's so lots more people playing overall, but playing less rounds overall. Yeah, so the average number of rounds per person in New Zealand was fewer than in 2022. That's correct, Brett. But the total number of players is greater and more than makes up for it. So
Tom just bringing up a point. Well, not a point, but Tom just bringing up that sounds like there's 9 new baskets going over to Rabbit Island in Nelson, which is awesome.
Wow,
here.
Another course. Fantastic. We shall see how that jumps Nelson in next year's figures.
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure if Rabbit Island's always had a course. I've never played, so I'm not sure. Tom, was it tone poles there or old baskets? What did we have? Because I've always known there's a course out there that I wanted to go play, but cool to hear there's 9 new baskets going out there potentially.
Absolutely. Now, I can't aggregate this data by city because I don't have it by city. What I've done previously is I've bunged a city name next to all of the courses and then added them up, and that works for the rounds, but it doesn't work for unique players because obviously in Christchurch there'll be crossover between the unique players playing at Jelly Park and the unique players playing at Warren Park, for example. So it doesn't quite work on a city or by island basis, or indeed at a New Zealand level either. So I'm not able to reliably, without this data in more detail that I don't have, able to aggregate this data by any broader metric than course. A local course for local people. So this is the top 10 rounds per person per year. So Berhampore comes in second. If you play Berhampore, you play it more than nearly more than other people play other courses, is what I meant to say. I don't know how to. Yeah, I've not quite said that right. But it's dwarfed by Queen's Park Disc Golf Course, as we've seen. They've got a loyal crew, 500 strong, all playing 20 times a year. So yeah, a local course for you. This is a minimum of 200 unique players, right? So I've filtered out the smaller courses here, so that it's statistically more significant.
That's the fine print right at the top.
That is the fine print. Yeah. Just need to cover myself before the chat goes mental. Right, and finally, tourist towns. So this is the lowest rounds per person per year. So this is suggesting that if you go and play at a course in Tekapo, then actually you're probably going to play it twice and then not again. in a year. Okay, so this will be people driving through from one place to another, or maybe having a practice round before the tournament, or maybe even the tournament. And so, yeah, I think it's. I think that's what is going on there. Hanma probably has the same. It's a course that people drive through on the way, whilst the Kaikoura road is closed. Then Hanma used to be the way to get to Christchurch, but it's.
Well, yeah, yes and no. You don't
north.
drive through You don't drive through Hamner though. You drive past the turnoff.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So, okay, but even
it's I think it's still like another 20 minutes, half an hour past the turnoff by the bungee bridge.
Yeah, but if I was driving from Picton to Christchurch, then there was a course in Hanmer and Kaikoura was shut, then I'd stop in, because it stretched your legs. Whatever.
Yeah, and you got the hot pools there. Yeah. It's a hell of a location.
Luggett is another one that's kind of on the way. It's not really a kind of a destination course. You probably go there to on the way to somewhere.
It's kind of the back road to get back through to Wanaka. If you can turn off right at Terrace if you're coming south on the main road. But I think that's almost down to local players. Strangely enough, they created a bit of a, I don't know if it's called the Luggett disc golf community, whatever it's called, but it's a small little town, and I think a lot of that's going to be local players from that area.
Okay, all right. Well, which is interesting because that would suggest that if it was that way round, it would suggest the other way, right? Where you've got a few people playing a lot of rounds. What you've got here is a lot of people playing fewer rounds, relatively speaking, right? So that for me, it suggests more of a. And someone mentioned it, Scott Brooker's mentioned it, once on the way there, once on the way back. It could be closer to that. And then a couple in Christchurch. Brooker Ave is probably more down to the weather and it being closed for a period of time. And then Tiana destination course as well. Yeah.
One of my favourite places to play disc golf is Ivan Wilson Park in Tiana. Beautiful location, beautiful park.
And then finally, this is the country growth. So this is total rounds across all courses scored in New Zealand. So it's gone from 132,000 to 154, which for the quick mathed among you is an increase of 154 to 132 is about a 16% increase. Less of an increase than we saw percentage-wise anyway, compared to 2022 to 2021, which saw a 40% increase. And then 2021 to 2020 nearly doubled, right? So the growth is slowing, but the growth is still there.
Yeah, the growth is slowing, but there's so many factors that come into it. And I mean, even just the basic one again is people maybe not wanting to pay $50 for units.
Well, that's it, right? And I think that will curtail a few. And the example came up today on the Old Farts chat. One of the guys was saying that he's renewed it for himself, but he hasn't for his 3 kids. So now when he goes out and plays, previously they would have had their rounds scored. And now they won't, and so I can see how that cost is going to make a difference, and for a family membership, it makes a big difference. $200 in one go is a lot if you've got 3 kids, right? To shell out.
You got to put these kids. You got to put these kids to work, man. Come on.
That's right. So yeah. So anyway, that's our stats from around the country. This is kind of part 1 because we're going to go into part 2. Will be a little bit later on in the year, and we'll be looking at the quality of the disc golf being played. Right. So we'll be diving into some of the PDGA stats of some of the sanctioned tournaments and picking out, like previous to how we had the quiz last year. Morgan, do you remember that?
I absolutely do, Matt.
We will try and do another quiz. We might be able to also do it. We might also be able to do it as a bit of a competition, have it up on screen, and people can put in their answers and and then it will do a load of funky stuff. We'll see how we get on. But yeah, that's still to come. This one was focused on course stats. So look, if you want a copy of this presentation, then please email me after the show, and I'll more than happily share the presentation with you, and then you can go and do what you like with the numbers. In the past, people have...
But he will not share it until we get to 350 subscribers.
Well, that's right. I'm
pointing at the wrong camera.
We do have four more subscribers. There's a lot of people itching for a giveaway who are trying to encourage people to subscribe, which is fantastic. Yeah. So there we go.
Fantastic.
That's our stats for this, for 2023.
I still feel like an imposter. I still feel like Statman Adam Rhymes should have been sat here looking good instead of this guy. But we got through it.
It's not about your ability with numbers. It's more about how you can interpret and tell the story that goes along with them. So yeah. Look, Morgan, what else has been happening? Have you got any news for you? It's been a bit quiet last couple of weeks. We've not had any tournaments. It's been
yeah, for sure. We're definitely building into some bigger weeks.
Absolutely.
In the disc golf community.
We've got some coming up.
Sorry, the disc golf world. Yeah, huge weeks coming up. I mean, I'm pretty excited to get up to Christchurch for GCO, then Armageddon, and then Montana Flat the week after that. So I've got and the Queenstown Classic the week before all of those. So I'm going not for the triple threat, but the four-peak crown on that one. But yeah, other news. Yeah, I personally have some pretty cool news, and